What's going on, guys? It's Investing Hustler here, and today I'm going to talk about the marijuana industry. Is it crashing or not? So I'll be answering a few questions like whether I think the marijuana bubble has popped, and also I'll give my reasons as to why I think the marijuana industry took a hit on Thursday. So the question is the marijuana industry crashing? I could easily say no, and in a few weeks the marijuana industry drops. But like I said in many of my videos, these companies are very volatile, which is why I've been collecting profits when these companies reach the all-time highs and why I've been buying shares when they reach lows. So what that means is that if the marijuana industry does crash, it will most likely just create another buying opportunity for investors, because I believe it's just going to pick back up again. But I've been riding these marijuana waves for over a year now, and I've seen my portfolio go from negative 20K to positive 20K. So if you're the type of person that cracks under pressure, gets nervous when they lose $10, $100, $1,000, then this industry is not for you. Because like I said, this industry is very volatile. Well, I personally hope that the industry does crash or get a nice little correction, because I personally want to buy back all the shares that I've sold. I've collected profits, I've made some money, and now I have cash waiting to be spent. So if the industry does crash, I will be buying back all the shares that I've sold. So to answer the question, do I think the marijuana industry has crashed? My answer is going to be no. Although I do think in time some of these smaller companies will crash and disappear, because a lot of the bigger companies are starting to build a monopoly and they're pretty much going to expand and take over. And that's going to make it a lot harder for the smaller companies to compete. So the second question is the marijuana industry a bubble, and is it going to pop? Well, first I want to answer, why do people consider the marijuana industry a bubble? Well, one main reason is because a lot of people compare the marijuana industry to cryptocurrency. So let's talk about cryptocurrency. So pretty much Bitcoin blew up, almost hit $20,000 per Bitcoin. So at the same time that Bitcoin was blowing up and rising, all the other altcoins was following the same trend. So a lot of people would compare that to the marijuana industry, where Canopy is like Bitcoin and all the other companies are like the smaller altcoins. So when Canopy got that deal with Constellation Brands, Canopy blew up that day, and then all the other companies started to go up with Canopy. So the same thing happened with Bitcoin. Bitcoin blew up, almost hit 20,000. All the other altcoins followed, and then the moment Bitcoin crashed, what happened to the altcoins? The exact same thing. So a lot of people like to compare the two industries. Bitcoin is like Canopy, and then the altcoins are like the other marijuana companies. So now the question is the marijuana industry a bubble? So now I personally think that some of the smaller companies are in a bubble, because they're mostly growing due to hype and due to the fact that Canopy grew. So when Canopy goes up, all these other companies have been going up with it. So it's all hype right now. So once marijuana finally becomes legal for recreational purposes, the hype might die out, and at that point these companies cannot grow just because of the hype. At that point, in order to grow, you're going to have to release good numbers. So in that case, a lot of these companies that are growing because of hype, I consider them a bubble, and that bubble might pop once the hype dies and they have no numbers to back up their valuation. So yes, I do think a lot of the smaller companies might be in a bubble, but I think the companies that are expanding and planning for the future, I think those companies have potential to continue growing long term. For example, Canopy and Aurora. So is marijuana industry a bubble? Who knows? Some companies might be. I don't think that the bigger companies are. I think that a lot of these companies have a lot of potential for the long term. So will I be selling any of my shares? No, I'm not going to sell my shares because of the fear that this industry is about to crash, that this bubble is about to pop. I'm not going to be selling my shares because of that. Also, simply because I like to follow two rules. You buy low and you sell high. I've already sold a bunch of my shares during high times, and I don't plan on selling them when the industry looks like it's crashing. At that point, when it's crashing, I do plan on buying some more. And now to answer the final question. What happened Thursday? Why did these companies take a nice dip or a nice correction on Thursday? Well, my first reason is this correction was long overdue. As I mentioned in my last video where I revealed my marijuana portfolio, I did talk about how I thought all these companies were overvalued and I was collecting some profits. So no, I had no idea that on Thursday these companies were going to take a nice correction, but that's just because of my strategy that I like to collect profits. and I happened to get lucky, and right before I collected profits, the industry took a nice dip. Another reason is that on Thursday there was an article that released, and I'll read to you a part of that article. So Canadians will be barred from entering the United States for smoking marijuana legally, for working in Canada's legal marijuana industry, and for investing in the legal Canadian marijuana companies, a senior U.S. Customs and Border Protection official says. So that might be another reason why there was a correction on Thursday. But also, let me mention that this isn't a new law. This isn't something that was just created on Thursday and then all of a sudden that's the reason why the industry took a nice hit. This has been a law for a very long time. So there are a lot of conspiracies to this. Like, I heard that there was someone out there with deep pockets who pretty much paid someone to release this article in order to scare investors out of the marijuana industry, in order for that group of people or in order for that person to buy the shares that have been sold that day. Because if you do notice that on Thursday it took a nice dip, and then Friday morning the marijuana industry kind of recovered. I'm really curious to see what's going to happen Monday. So I'm not saying that this is a fact and this is true. This is simply what I heard from some people, so I'm just throwing ideas out there. But either way, I don't think this is a big deal. I don't know how Border Patrol is going to know whether you're invested in the marijuana industry, so I don't think this article is anything that's too serious or anything to be concerned about. The only time I'll be concerned is once you start reading news that someone actually got arrested. So let's say an investor got arrested because he's invested in the marijuana industry trying to cross the border, and that ends up on news, then I'll be a little concerned. And my last reason as to why I think the marijuana industry took a nice hit is because of a new company called TLRY. I released this video on July 30th. It's called $5,000 in gains with Aurora Cannabis. And during that time, the marijuana industry was really crashing. At that point, Aurora was about to hit $5.50. And I noticed that a lot of companies were falling. And pretty much every company in the marijuana industry was taking a nice correction. And there was one company that was blowing up, and that was TLRY. So at that time, I did talk about how there was a possibility that a lot of investors were taking money out of the companies they currently owned and they were throwing it into TLRY, which explained why TLRY was blowing up and why all these other companies were going down.
But I will be talking about one main reason, because of a new company that debuted in the US, a company that goes by the name of TLRY, ticker symbol TLRY. TLRY debuted on July 19th of 2018. And as you can see from these cannabis stock returns, for the week of July 20th, almost all the marijuana companies took a hit, including the big four, which are Canopy, Aurora, MedRelief, and Apria. Those four companies took the biggest hit in the past 2 weeks, and only 2 companies didn't decline. You can guess what one of them were, and that was TLRY, and the other company was Emerald Health. So at one point, TLRY was up over 40% in a little bit over a day, but then soon started to decline, because a lot of the money that was invested into Aurora and Canopy and Apria, MedRelief, all these companies, all the money got taken out and reinvested into a new and upcoming company called TLRY.
So that could be another reason. Simply, investors are going for what's hot right now, and they're taking their money out of what seems to be old news to them. And TLRY has been up over 377% since I released that video. Those are some serious gains. So if you're invested in the marijuana industry, I wish you the best of luck. Don't get scared. Marijuana is not legal yet, so there's still going to be a lot of hype before the legalization date. Don't forget October 17th. I'm actually really excited to see what's going to happen. Who knows whether the industry will just blow up or whether it might crash, because everyone's going to face reality that all these companies are overvalued and they're not making enough money. But who knows? No one knows except for someone from the future. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to leave me a like. And if you're not subscribed yet, don't forget to hit that notification bell and also smash that subscribe button. And that's it for now, guys. Bye bye.